some people saying that you can split the world to the waiters and the doers. And the waiters are people who's waiting for something to happen while the doers already made it done.
Welcome to the Elevate Your Ride podcast, where rider performance is taken to the next level through conversation and education. Our episodes range from rider health to horse training to the stories behind successful amateurs and more. I'm your host, Ellie, personal trainer for equestrians. Thanks for tuning in. A quick testimonial from one of our listeners. Sierra said, "Oh my goodness, how cool. I was just thinking about how there needs to be more out there as far as fitness for equestrians. Love this concept, especially as a massage therapist for equestrians." Thank you, Sierra, for listening. Today on the podcast, I am bringing on Oded Locker of LockeRider Performance Horses. So thank you so much for coming on today. I'm super excited to chat with you. So Oded operates in Israel. He trains all around horses and starts colts and coaches riders. And he has won numerous Israeli titles, including the Open Western Pleasure, the Open Trail, and the Open All Around Challenge. And today we're going to be talking about how Oded helps his riders elevate their performance and become stronger riders. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm really excited.
Yeah. So first, I wanted to talk with you about what sets you apart from your competitors or from other people who ride horses. What is it about you and your background, the way that you train your horses and your riders that works for you?
Wow. Okay. Like I have so many answers for that. Let's start from the beginning. I guess the biggest difference is something in here, like the mentality of the way that I'm training the horses, coaching my clients, and especially working on myself as a person first and also as a horse trainer. I would say that one thing that keeps my program really different is that I used to do so many different disciplines, even if I just took some lessons, like, from dressage riders, show jumpers, cutting horses, like, reining horses. Of course, I was the helper of a really, I think, the best trainer that we have in here for 1 year. And I think that I kind of combined all of those things together to make the right path for my all around horses today. And another thing is that since I'm always, kind of looking around and want to do something different and new and try some stuff and learn more and everything. So my horses sometimes going outside to ride on the trails, and sometimes they go up on some obstacles from the extreme race world. Sometimes they go to the sea. Sometimes we ride in the arena and do like the real patterns and the classes that we have in the all around. But I would say that overall, I'm trying to keep things very fun. Maybe I should say, first of all, very safe, and then also very
Fun.
fun and kind of interesting to everyone, because whenever I ride and I get to a specific point, I always want to have like maybe not always going more and more higher in the quality, but sometimes you just need something different or new. And this is the way that I train also my horses. Like they always do something. When they do good, I pet them and tell them that's good for today. But on the next day, we might gonna try something different, absolutely change the discipline and whatever going on in the arena or outside of it. And I think it's one thing that all of my clients will say, that you can never have enough lessons, because when they think, oh my God, I did it, and now this guy gonna be happy about me, then I will go and say, like, maybe we can do it a little harder or maybe a little different, and take off your stirrups and drop your stirrups. So let's try it with one rein, which is something that I don't think many people do. And go on, like whatever crazy idea I have at the same day.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that mentality that you have of trying to cross train often and not just always going in the arena, doing the same thing over and over and over again. And I think that's really hard when you're trying to train an all around performance horse, especially one that's doing multiple events. You're doing the showmanship, the trail, the Western riding, the horsemanship, the pleasure. the English, all these things, right? And so sometimes it can feel really overwhelming, especially for an amateur who maybe can't ride all of the time or maybe doesn't feel quite confident in their skill set. Like it's very common to just want to drill over and over and over again. So, how does that conversation go with your amateurs when someone approaches you and says, "You know what? Like I just want to work on haunch turns and that's all that I want to do for like the next 3 months because I suck at haunch turns and I need to get better." How do you convince them that it actually helps them get closer to their goal to cross train by going and riding on the beach, going in for a trail ride, going and taking your horse on a walk? Like, how do you convince people to believe that they should not just focus on just haunch turns or just the loc departures or whatever it is that they're struggling with?
Maybe I will answer that in a different way a little bit. First, I must say that I work mainly with youth riders because we have less amateurs in the whole industry in the all around specific because of most of them have to go to the army, and then not
Wow.
everyone can come back and keep on riding. But with my youth, I would say let's split the answer for two ways. So one of them is the way that if they would like to work on something, I always keep in mind if you feel less confidence in this area, then you should keep working on it in a way that builds more confidence, which means
Mm,
if it's getting worse with the during the riding, so it's not always the best idea to keep on doing it again and again and again and again. And the other way that I want to give you kind of example, let's say that we both like chocolates, maybe chocolate cookies, and we both
oh,
go together to a coffee shop, and you keep on telling the seller that you don't want the peanut butter cookie, and you don't want the peanut butter sandwich, and you don't want the peanut butter muffin. Okay, so the main thing that the seller gonna remember is a peanut butter, right? So imagine that you have a client that's coming to a lesson and then you're telling him, I know the hunch terms are a bit issue. So let's face it when it's the right time. For example, we can start with running around the arena and just keep the hips outside for a few strides until we feel it better. When he gets confidence about it, we're going to end the riding at the right spot when the hunch turn is going to be really good. And then
mhm.
the most important thing for me is to know when to stop. Like I think I can if I squeeze all of my training method into one sentence, I hope it's gonna work out in English. I would say that it's really important to know when you should push your horse, but it's way more important, or maybe the most important, is to know when to not push your horse. And this is the issue with those kind of things. Like if some client would like to come over and say, my turns are not good, or I don't know, like my shoulder is not in the right place. We cannot train shoulder for 3 months. This is not how it works. And I will put it in the same level like when I explained that a horse is one package. Okay, like maybe you have an issue with
Mhm.
the hamstring, so let's put some more gas on this part. But at the same time, you can't leave the gates and the steering, like the overall top line and whatever, like everything else that works perfectly. If you don't not gonna touch it for 3 months, it's not gonna wait in the same place.
Yeah, that was a great answer. So, what do you notice about your horses and their happiness and their willingness to want to do what you're asking them to do when you're focusing more on a big variety within their training or a lot of cross training? How do you notice the difference in your horses?
Ah, wow. Actually, I think this is the question that I'm gonna like the most in the interview, because let's say that the biggest issue that we have is showing in different places and keep feeling confidence. And the one thing that I really like about my horses is that it's really not common in my team that a horse spook in a different arena or in another barn, because I think when they are so exposed to many things,
Mhm.
they kind of build their own confidence. And when you keep on
Yeah.
riding on your horse and both of you feeling so good together and very confident no matter what, then you can move between arenas, you can move between barns, you can move between, I don't know, like classes, whatever. And it's all just goes right. Nothing gonna go wrong. I hope I'm not. making some troubles to myself in a few weeks at the first show of the year. But I think you get the idea of it.
Yeah. Yeah. You feel like your horses are more confident in themselves.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. Like no matter what I'm
Okay.
here, if you go my way, everything is gonna be okay. And like we can change the place we ride. I don't know, like even like the style that we are riding. Sometimes you go into the
Mhm.
Western pleasure with a really long reins on the fence. Something can move in the trees or whatever, and you just keep on managing it in some way. And the other day, you can do the equitation, kind of staying in the center of the arena, working on straight lines, circles, whatever you like, any maneuvers that
Mhm.
you want with some connection and, like a little more collected legs. And then the horse keeps on the same confidence between those type of rides. And, you just get into the shows really confident to get.
Yeah, I like that. So, is that something that it sounds like you've worked for a couple different trainers, right? I love that. The more that you can learn, the better. So, is that something that one of the trainers that you worked with previously taught you? Like, did you learn that that was a good way to go about horse training through experience, so watching somebody else do it? Or was it more that you watched somebody do the opposite, somebody that didn't cross train at all, and you saw,
Um,
ooh, like that's not how I want my horses to be. I want to cross train more.
I think it's something that I build from a few things. First of all, I think that my training program today is really who I am. Like, I've been working for many trainers, and one day I just got that, okay, right now I'm training horses not so bad. And it's not because of the way that I learned all around again and again and again and the same thing over and over. It's just because my knowledge that I got from many different resources, and they kind of combined the most important things for me. So as I said, for example, I will always start with make the horse super safe, like bomb
Hmm.
proof, and
Hmm.
he must behave to the client or to me, like, to the person next to him. I'm not going to be politically correct. There are some red lines that no one's going to cross. If he
Hmm.
puts himself in danger or the people around him, then we must find a way to fix it as soon as possible. And sometimes even like no one gonna work with this horse for a few days unless I'm done with him. But on the other hand, the really good part is that after we managed those kind of things, everything just sits in the right place. So like I have a super safe horse and he trained very good and
Hmm.
everyone can treat him, like saddle him up and even ride most of
Hmm.
them. I mean, you can come over tomorrow and try all of the horses and everything will be okay. You might not gonna succeed everything, but nothing scary or danger gonna happen to you. The second thing that I would like to say about it is that I did saw many trainers doing the same thing again and again and again and again. And then you see that the horse at some point doing it, but is not gonna want to do it more from day to day.
Hmm.
So it's not that I saw someone training, cross training just like that, but I did saw many people doing it the other way, and I absolutely saw it, and I said, okay, this is not the way that I want to do it, so I will find a different way.
Sometimes I think it's easier to learn what not to do
Not to
than
do
what to do.
exactly.
I think that it instills it deeper in you. So that's awesome that you had that experience. Are you loving our content and are wondering how you can support your hosts? Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify for access to all our episodes ad-free. For $4.99 a month, you can help us bring you the quality content you need to elevate your ride. If you're interested in sponsoring an episode for your business, our packages start at $25 an episode and offer you a wide range of exposure to equestrians. Click the Sponsor Us link in the show notes to learn more. How do you bomb proof your horses? What's your mentality? What are the specific exercises that you like to do? And do you view bomb proofing as a one time thing that you do with horses when you very first get them? Or is it something that you're continuously working on through horses throughout their training career?
Okay, so about the bomb proof, I would say I am doing it for their entire career. I do
Hmm.
start with it, like in Israel we have the the winter break and the summer break. So this is
Mm-hmm.
around at least 2 months off each season of the year. And this is the times that we are doing more like going outside and ride. And then, sometimes you see sheeps and motorcycles and jeeps and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. So the horse is getting really broke around it. And also, I must say that the facility that I am in right now for the past 3 years, I think, is
Mm-hmm.
kind of bomb proof, just like the way it is right now, because we do have like cars, bicycles, motorcycle, trucks,
Mm-hmm.
chickens, dogs, cats, whatever you like, even snakes. And the horses are just getting ready to, just handle everything that goes around them. To
Mm-hmm.
be honest, my wife is also training horses and she's doing the extreme cowboy
Okay.
race. So their obstacles are super scary. Like I don't know
Yeah.
so many all-around horses that can ride and suddenly see like, balloons flying away or a really, really big flag that's running around, or sometimes even like a lasso turning around the rider's head. So they just keep on learning how to manage it. After the first time, I don't like the word breaking, so I'm like softening
Mm-hmm.
them to not afraid. But at the beginning, I guess that every horse that I'm getting have like 1 week for sure only with me,
Mm-hmm.
and then he needs to go like really big nylon piece that he needs to cross. Sometimes I'm working with some trash bags, like really big ones, tires, whatever I can do, like just to make him. I think the right word, desensitize him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So whenever they're getting comfortable enough, then we can move on and just keep on working with the horse normally and also with the client. And with the time, from time to time, I get that as long as the horse is in training with me, they do get like, very big circle, lunging them with some scary things just around us, not something that they're going to touch or do, but it's just next to them. And that's it. I think pretty much it keeps itself like with the time. And of course, if someone shows me that he have too much energy, he's too fresh, or he started to be spooky again, we can just move on and work on those things again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Love that. How long have you been a horse trainer?
I would say that from the day I'm done with the army, so like actually 10 years exactly. I mean, before the army, I gave some riding lessons, and I
Mm-hmm.
also took some clients to shows. But it was like
Mm-hmm.
before the career, it was kind of a hobby that just give me some money to pay for my own horses back then. But today it's a
Gotcha.
little different. Yeah, I think from 2016 I took it like to a whole new level.
Okay. Awesome. How has your training program evolved over the last 10 years?
Wow.
It's a big
I would
question.
say, yeah, it's a big question.
Yeah.
I would say first that just as I said at the beginning, like the person that I am today is not the person that I've been 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a kid already, and life looks so different, like from the point of view that I have right now.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things is patience and knowing that something that doesn't work today don't mean it's not going to work another day. So like kind of being patient, giving the horse the time that he needs. And I think it's not the most common thing that people will say, but lately I've been choosing horses much more than what I used to do at the beginning. And not just because I want to be better and keep on the quality of the team, but more because some of them not built to do it. Like some horses too
Mm-hmm.
nervous
Mm-hmm.
at the shows. Some horses doesn't have the movement that you want. Like I'm always laughing that sometimes a client comes over and he's saying like, I want to have the best horsemanship horse in Israel. And then suddenly he arrives with such a big, heavy horse that can barely turn or something. And I'm like, 10 years ago, I would say, no problem. I will ride that horse no matter what and make him turn into the best horsemanship he can do. But today I will just say, okay, so we have two ways to move on from here. You can change the horse or you can change the discipline, whatever you choose. I'm with you. And some of them like it, some of them not. And then, like I'm not as pushy as I've been at the beginning. And
Mhm.
also another thing that I hope it's like I will say it, but I'm not 100% succeeding in it. Like sometimes I'm falling in my mindset also, but I
Mhm.
understood that being the 2025 champion of something doesn't mean you are the best at it. Okay, like you can be a really good rider and you can be a great trainer and not win something, or sometimes lose like big, like being the last one at the show or whatever, but it doesn't say anything about you. Like the same
Mhm.
day, the same class. I would say like 10 years ago, I was much younger and I didn't had any of the knowledge that I have today. So like I've been so much more efficient, I think. Like, I'm not
Mhm.
gonna waste my or clients or horses' time on something that will never work. But on the other hand, I'm just like, some horses will have their habits and their way of handling themselves. And I will just say, okay, this is him, and I respect that, and just keep him safe and whatever the client needs, and not pushing him over the like the possibility that he have, you know what I mean?
Mm.
So I would say this
Mhm.
is the biggest difference. And another thing is that 2017 it was the first time, like, let's do it officially. Shout out to Nina Leiner, the best all-around trainer in Europe, who took me to work for her for the first time in 2017, which was first of all my first experience with horses professionally outside of Israel. And second, I think it was the first time that I saw and rode horses who truly have all around bloodlines, because until
Mhm.
until 2 years ago, I think we only had reining bloodlines in here, because this was like the big discipline, the big industry that we have in the Western industry in Israel. Right. All of the scene was about raining, and lately it's turned into the all around. Like at the moment, we have the biggest shows, and we imported so many horses from the States. So like what I saw there was kind of, I just woke up again from the beginning, and I was like, okay, so the all around that I'm doing at home is nice and cute, but it's not like the all around. Like, you know what I mean? Like a
Mhm.
Western pleasure horse that I rode first at Nina's place. I was sitting there and, comparing to what I had at home, she was like, feel free, you can do whatever you like. And I was like, there's nothing to do. Like, she's perfect from every stride is in the right place and everything feels so good all the way. So I would say it's a really big difference in the mindset and in the experience that I had. And also, like, kind of in myself, I find a better loving way to train the horses, which is much more fun, by the way.
How important is fun to you and overall enjoyment of the sport?
I will split also this answer to two different routes. So, first of all, as a trainer, I know that sometimes I will have to do things that are not so fun to me, like riding late at night, working really hard at the shows. In this show season, it looks like I'm going to have between 8 to 10 horses. And in here, I'm showing all of the horses that I'm training at the same shows. So we're going to have like 3 super busy days. Most of the time, you can't eat in the middle of the day, and like you don't see it, but I love food. So it must be complicated. And for me, it's sometimes not fun all of the time, but I always
Yep.
keep on specific peaks, like peak, you know what I mean? Of
Yeah.
times that must be fun. Like at the end of the day with my team, or when we are at the barn, we must have like a special day for, just some fun. Maybe we can order some food. Maybe we can have like,
Mhm.
a play night or whatever. Whoever wants to scroll down in my Instagram page, so you will see that we are doing so many full stuff, just to have some fun together. And I always keep that in mind, that it's a hobby for them. So I would say for me, I must keep like 30% of fun and 70% of hard working and responsibility. Like There are
Mhm.
some things that you must do even if you don't like it. Like if the horse
Mhm.
need any special treatment and it's Saturday and I just want to, sit on the couch and sleep a little bit. So I can't do it all the time. But on the other
Mhm.
hand, I must keep the fun part for me. I fly out to the country for vacations many times and I keep the
Mhm.
fun with the horses many times. And sometimes I just like stop everything. Let's have a, I don't know, like a spa day and just put shampoo on all of the horses together and have fun.
Mhm.
Not just us, but also with them. They turned into pets for me. Let's put it like kind of similar to the last question. So like they used to be animals, and lately I feel like they are my pets. Like each and every horse that I have in my team, I really love them, and I try to take care of them in the best way I can. And part of it is to have fun with them. Like many things that are nice to
Mhm.
them makes it fun for me. Like when the chiropractor coming to treat them, and you see the horses
Mhm.
licking their lips and stretching like that and enjoying the treatment. Sometimes I'm standing behind and I feel like I'm getting a massage just because I see them enjoy it. And the second answer is about the clients. With them, I think that I can't go under 80% of fun. Like, 20% is the responsibility that they have. And because I'm working with youth, I'm trying to educate them as much as I can about taking care of the horse and be a good team member and, always being nice to the other trainers in the arena or in the shows and also like other competitors. But for them, it must be fun. It's a hobby. Like whoever wants to work in it, no problem. You can puke blood until you're doing it. But if you don't, so I mean, there is this sentence: if you can't trot and cry at the same time, this sport is not for you. And I'm telling
Mhm.
them, if you can trot and cry at the same time, so just sit down and jog your horse instead. Like you need to keep
Mhm.
finding the fun no matter what.
Have you experienced burnout before?
Oh wow! Actually, I had one. I would call it a year off, but it wasn't a real one because I was like, things doesn't go my way. I'm quitting horse training. I'm gonna take time off, and that's it. I had like a quality assurance engineer course, and I went and worked for a high tech company in the north of Israel. And I only had one client with me in a small barn that my wife used to manage. And then I found another horse that I liked in there. And suddenly I found myself going to the shows with two horses, which is something that I don't think I ever had. I mean, the smallest team that I had was four private horses, and at that year I had one that the client was owning him, and the other one that was belonged to the barn that my wife managed. So I had the breaking point that I was like, I'm not getting enough money for that hard work, and also I'm not satisfied enough. So I tried to take my legs out of the industry, but I think it was like, I think 2 months top that I was like, okay, something is wrong with my life. I must get in it again. And I found a much better way. I must say that right now, when I'm looking to the past, I'm really happy it happened to me because it was the beginning of my own business. Like I wasn't locker riders all around horses before. I just was
Mhm.
like an employee in some barns, and I used to work very hard for someone else's, get more money like on my back, you know what I mean, and some good credit and
Mhm.
stuff. And from that point, I turned to a self-employed. Like I have my own business. I am running it. I'm setting the rules. I say how much money I want, and I'm getting whatever I want. And of course, at the same time, I'm putting much more investment in it. Like my clients know that I'm available 24/7, and the horses are knows that I'm here for no matter what, and I will take care of everything and manage everything. But I'm much happier right now.
The reason why I asked is because, you were very clear in saying, "I am 70% work, 30% fun, and then my clients are like 80% fun, 20% work." And that just seemed like a very experience-driven kind of formula that you had, and I would have been very surprised if you had come up with that formula without experiencing some sort of a burnout, some sort of
Well,
a reason as to why you should, have it be those specific percentages. So um I think that burnout is something that I don't want to say that it's essential, but oftentimes we come out better on the other side if we but, you have to allow yourself to kind of take a step back and take a break because
it's the
I had those experiences of feeling the burnout, but then didn't do something about it, didn't actually take a step back. Who knows where you would be today? You know what I mean? You might have gotten so burnt out over time that you never actually came back to horses. And so I think it's important to take a break when you need it, but allow yourself to come back when you want to, and then you come back better than ever more times than not.
Yeah, I agree with it. I must say, I guess
Mhm.
it depends on the character that you are, because for me, the burnout was super essential. Like, it's built me to the person and also to the trainer I am today. I have a very good example for it. My wife is always
Okay.
laughing at me that in 2019, I think it was the best year that I had as a young trainer in here. I showed the whole season in the all around, and I had over 20 riders who showed with me at the shows. And I
Wow.
was the uh, open Western pleasure horsemanship and trail class champion at the same year. But every end of show, I used to go to the airport on Saturday night and taking a flight to work for Nina in Austria or in Germany,
Mhm.
depends on if they had a show or if they were home. And I remember that as long as this year moved on, I was more and more tired, and it was harder for me to keep on going on those things. And there was a time that I preferred flying out to work for Nina just because of not managing everything on my own. Like, I was flying out, working super hard, waking up very
Mhm.
early, going to sleep very late, but keep on doing whatever she said, like taking care
Mhm.
of the specific horses that I needed to handle and just helping her around, drinking tons of coffee all day. And my wife was laughing that at some point in this year, she used to take me to the airport, and I was almost crying on the way because I was like,
Mhm.
how can we keep on doing it like that? Like, where
Yeah.
is it going? Like, what's the next spot? What's the next step?
Mhm.
What's coming comes next? Was my biggest question. And after the big burnout, actually, I think 2020 was the year that I was broke for a few months. I think after that, I just rebuild myself, and then, as you said, like, we are coming back much stronger. And
Mhm.
I would say that the biggest thing that I like in my business today is the specification that I have about everything. Which saddles you allowed to ride in my team? Which horses you should bring in here? What kind of clients? What is the goal that we are setting to the next show season? Or we are taking a season off and keep our program, specified for something else. And without the burnout, I wouldn't come to this place never.
Mhm. Yeah, it's essential to go through, unfortunately, and I feel like we all go through it at some point. And
Absolutely.
for a lot of people, it was actually in the COVID 2020 timeframe. That was when I had
Okay.
my burnout was around the same time too. So it's interesting how that was such a transformative couple of years. They were really hard years for everybody in the world to go through, but
Absolutely.
so many things in our lives are better because of it. We're on the other side of it now, thank goodness. Are you ready to take your riding to the next level? Better performance starts with a mindset shift. How you think, train, and show up each day. Positive affirmations like small steps toward big goals, progress over perfection, and consistency builds confidence serve as powerful reminders to stay focused and committed. Check out our Elevate Your Ride affirmation merch, linked in the show notes, and add intention to your everyday routine. You mentioned that you have a lot of patience. Was there a specific horse or a specific scenario that taught you that you can remember?
Wow, I think there was one actually on
Mhm.
2020, the burnout year. So the horse that belongs to this client, his name was Juanita's Smart Star, like he was a great one. Yeah. He never needed me to fight with him or push him too much or whatever. Nothing like that. But in this specific year, I saw that when I have less horses in training, I'm way more stressful about making them great. Because, if you have four horses and all of them are very good, you look at yourself
Mhm.
and you are like, okay, so I do a good job. And if you have two
Mhm.
horses and one of them is not so good or just good, then you don't feel the same, which
Yeah.
actually, with the time, it turns to be one of the sentences that I'm always saying, that I always choose quality over quantity. And during 2020, when I had this time with him, I saw that every time that I'm pushing him too much, he starts being spooky, which is not his character. And suddenly he behaves much better to the client when she's showing
Mhm.
him. And he kind of, blew me up and, pops out during the shows for me. And then we got to the championship, which was, I wouldn't say easy, because we had like the season, and then you getting the score from show to another. And for the title of the Israeli champion back in 2020, you had to win
Mhm.
like overall the year the highest score. So what was happening there is that one girl looked like no matter what, she's going to win me, because we had like 3 points gap between us. So I was like, okay, so I'm going to be just a reserve champion or wait or what. And then something in my head was flipped. And I was like, if I'm going to be a reserve champion and not a champion anyway, then I can just release, maybe I will just stop pushing him so much. And in the minute that I did it, he turned so good that at the championship, at the class itself, we took, I think, the second place, but the other girl wasn't placed at all. And the girl who won me and was first, she was out of the, uh, how you say it, like, out of the
Out of the
option.
running.
Yeah, something like that. So suddenly
Yeah.
everything was mixed. And somehow I was second at the same class, but I jumped to be the Israeli champion of the same year. And I really
Mhm.
remember that feeling when I was like, it's good to work with the horses until the point you're happy, but it's very
Mhm.
important to choose the right point to be happy. Like,
Mm.
when I used to ride them and push them too much before I was patient, I was getting to a good exercise and I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I got that feedback. Now let's do it 10 times again to make sure the feedback is there. And today, when I'm working, especially with the young horses, I'm getting this feedback in the specific right way that I wanted. And I just stop getting off them, take them to the stall, like, give them some good time and some treats, whatever I
Mm.
can do it the same day for them. And I keep it in mind that tomorrow, when I will go there, they just need to come to the same place faster. They doesn't have
Mhm.
to be better. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I think this is the big stone that I'm building all of the training and sorry, all of the mental training that I'm trying to do also to the horses. And I guess this is the reason that I like riding young ones always, because with them you can move so fast forward, but not when you burn them out. Like only when you do it right mentality.
What are some of the other mentalities that you bring to the barn with you, either with your clients or with your horses?
Okay. So with the horses, I'm always keeping, just as I said, about, choosing the right point to be happy. Like,
Mhm.
I can tell you that lead changes is one of the things that are the most complicated for me to fix with horses or to teach them. I guess some
Mhm.
more young trainers can relate to that. And I think I kind of learn how to tell them it's good enough for today. Okay. And not keep on running after the perfection that you won't get today, no matter what you do. So this is about the horses. The other thing with them is that I always give them as much as they give me, which means that if I'm hopping on one of them, starting the riding, and I see that he just trying his best no matter what, I guess he's gonna get many, I will tap on him many times and I will stop many times and just let them breathe and let them lick their lips and feel very relaxed and um, like they succeed on their own, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I will just have a short, nice, and very, very easy ride. And some of them, if they don't want to come to the right place, I will spend lots of time patiently today until they would like to come there. And in the minute they show me that they want to come to this place, I will just get off them, which means I'm trying to teach them by their head and not by their body where they want to be on their own, which also makes it much easier for me to give lessons and to coach my riders to do kind of the same as I'm doing. And then the horse already choosing where he should go on his own, which makes it much easier for the clients.
So it seems like you try to teach your horses to be pretty self-reliant and confident within
Absolutely.
themselves.
Absolutely.
Uh, okay. I mean, obviously, I think that that is a fantastic idea and something that we should all strive to do more with our horses, even if you don't show. But how do you find that that helps you on show day?
Well, on show day, since sometimes you show so many horses and the gaps between the classes are so tight, so every client knows that if I don't have enough room, they need to bring their horses alone and hop on them alone and jog them around without do anything before the class. So just the horse's body is warm enough and is warmed up enough before I need to show him. And at the last show, I had a really good example for it because I think I had three horses in the open trail class, and we was, I think, maybe 10 riders, not over it, because it was a small show in the winter. And I didn't have time to warm them up. So they helped me. And I turned out to be champion, reserve champion. And I'm not sure if the third one was third or maybe fourth place. I think so. Maybe I'm wrong, but it was something like that. And I was like, okay,
That's awesome.
yeah, that's absolutely awesome. And also, like, the clients are happy to see that when they see me trusting my horses so much, they know that they can do the
Hmm.
same. And as we
Yeah.
said, I must say, like, I feel like the horse industry, especially all around showing, have already tons of emotions in it. So like when they
Hmm.
see me and they saying, okay, he's so confident with them, and it works for him so good, there's no reason why it wouldn't work for me. I like them
Mm.
to be very independent. And sometimes
Uh-huh.
the,
Yeah.
the the youth riders sometimes bring their parents. And when you see the parents riding those horses, then you are like, oh my God, this is a magic, like it's a dream come true to see all around horse that wins the high quality classes in Israel. Carry on a parent that sometimes doesn't sit so well and sometimes kick wrong with the leg. And the horses are just, I'm here, I will take care of you. I know the job. You just stop interrupting me or something like that. But I was about to say, like the points that I'm bringing to the barn for my clients. So I would say that I always try to teach them that they don't need to win with the crowd. They don't need to win with the horses. They truly doesn't have to win the other riders, but they always need to win themselves, which mean
Mm.
yesterday you came shaky and you were so scared of this, I don't know, pattern, for example. So tomorrow, let's try to be confident and find the right spot in ourselves that we believe how we want to do it and find a way to do it the same way we want.
Hmm.
So I
I
would
love
say,
that. I
yeah, I would say this is something that works perfectly for them. And I can see it with the ears. Like, at the beginning, I need to train them a lot and I need to talk with them nonstop. And if there is like a meltdown during the show, sometimes I need to have a, close conversation. And you should read your clients very good because some of them needs a hug and some of them just need a big slap on their cheek to wake up and just show their best. And
yeah, yeah.
I'm telling the parents,
You have to know your clients
yeah,
because they're all
exactly,
different. They're
exactly,
all different. Yeah, you can't treat them all the same.
yeah, exactly like that. I mean, the rules are on everybody the same, but the way that I try to give them the best instructions and also, like, as I said, like really being 24/7 for them, I guess it
Hmm.
includes the idea of making sure I'm doing my best for them, but also making sure they are doing the best for themselves. which is way more complicated.
Can you give me an example of something you might say to one of their youth riders before they go into like let's say you had a rider that really wanted to win a title in the horsemanship. What would you say to that client before they walk in?
So some of the I have at the moment only girls in the team. So for some of them, I will say, go in. You already the queen of the class. Like you don't need to worry about anything. Just to make them feel cocky a little bit, and go inside and say like, this is in my pocket already. And for some of them, I would say like, think about the last training that we had, think about your heels, think about your think about the rooftop, so you might try to sit a little higher and keep your chin up.
Mhm.
And actually, I think for most of them, I will say the most hurtful point that they do have in the specific class. For example, when I have a rider that the trail obstacles make him nervous, I will say, show me the way that you are letting the horse doing it in slow motion today. And then I will say it also, very slow, to make sure that their mind is following my voice. And some of them needs to wake up. So you will say, go on, you must win that. Okay, show me the sharpest turns and the steerings that you can do. And don't forget to don't lose your gates. Okay, keep up the movement all the
Mhm.
way. So I would say I have tons of them. And my clients always telling me lately, we need to put a mini mic on you while you're giving lessons, because the instructions are fine, but the things you're saying in between are hilarious. So I guess it's the same
That's
at the
the funny
shows.
part. Yeah, yeah. So it seems like you try to, keep it serious but light at the same time.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you're keeping your clients focused, but you always try to make them smile before they go in or something like that. Kind of
Um,
seems to be a theme. You try to keep people happy, which I think is a really important aspect of the sport. Are you always hearing roll your shoulders back, push your heels down, add more leg, but you don't feel like you can? These cues will feel like a constant fight if your mind and body has not developed the proper connection, coordination, mobility, stability, and strength required. At Lope and Down the Rail Fitness, I create customized workout plans for riders so you can become a stronger athlete for your horse. If you're ready to ride more effectively, visit my website, lopeanddowntherailfitness.com, linked in the show notes of this episode, and start training with purpose to elevate your ride. What would you say your best event is to train either the horses or the riders for?
I guess if we're talking about clients, I think the horsemanship is amazing because I have so much inputs about the way they see it, and the way I'm calling it like reading the way, like the pet on the ground. So the horsemanship is absolutely my favorite to explain. And actually, one of my dreams is to go outside of Israel and having like horsemanship clinic for some amateurs or youth riders outside of here. I wish it will happen someday, and I know someday it will happen. And for my own and for myself, I prefer the trail class, because sometimes you are getting to such a high quality of think with your horse, which you can really get out of the class and saying, I can't imagine, like, each stride was in the exact same spot that I wanted, and every stride was correct. I even chose the right legs when I was on the diagonal over the pole. So you can go out and feel like, oh my God, like I tried 100% and the horse gave like 200. So, sometimes it's really fun for me. And I don't like the Western pleasure so much. I do show
Me
it
yet.
and my clients do, but I feel sometimes like I doesn't have so much to do here, like the horse just moves. So don't run fast, don't follow other horses, be cute to me, and I hope it will be okay. But nothing over that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm the same. I the horsemanship is my favorite class. I love the trail. I love the high intensity of them.
yeah.
I get bored and self-conscious and like my brain has too much time to think if I'm just doing a rail class. It's not my gig, not for me. Flow state is kind of what it sounds like you were achieving with your horse when you guys are in sync. The horse is going exactly where you want the horse to go. The horse is showing up for you and being there for you, even if you didn't necessarily ask them to work to that level. They give you more than what you asked for. And I think that that's what we're all trying to get to when we're showing our horses is trying to reach that
Absolutely.
flow state. So something that I think is really important with achieving your flow state in the pen is peaking at the right time. So if you have a big show, when's your like champion show in the fall?
Usually it's in the winter, like right before
The winter?
winter. But this year we
Okay.
are having some changes, good ones actually. So the next championship gonna be on June, and the next one after it might gonna be also in June. Actually, it turns
Okay.
into a summer championship.
Okay, so let's just say that it's June. Okay. How do you make sure that your horses and your riders are peaking in June and reaching that flow state in June, not too early, not in like March or April? Because I think that is an important part of showing is getting your horses and your riders in sync for showing the big show, not before it, not after it.
Okay, so it might gonna sound a little cocky, but I don't mean to. I think that
Yeah,
all of the
go for
horses
it.
that coming to my team having kind of let's call it like heavy training for the beginning, but once they are done in a specific discipline, I can just leave it. Like when my horses have the turns that I need, he can back up really easily. All of this gates and strides are correct. We can move on and start the poles or the horsemanship. And of course, I like the showmanship from day one. After he have all of that, I'm done pushing them. The only thing that I keep on doing is having my 2 weeks before before every show. And because usually the show season in here is really organized, you have kind of until now it used to be middle of March, middle of April, middle of May, middle of June. And then we have the
Mhm.
break of the summer, July and August. And then you have one in September and one in October or in November. So for the next show season, I'm going to do it just the same way that I had until now. Young horses keep the same training. I ride them 2 times a week. I give lessons 3 times a week. So they work 5 times totally per week. And I just keep on pushing them until the point that I see they already understood everything on their own, which means they do to the clients almost the same as they do with me. So this is the point that I'm saying that in the barn, people laughing at me that a 3-year-old can't be from the old ones. But I'm like, he is from the old ones because he already got me. But I have a 7-year-old who didn't got me, so he's from the young ones. So I'm saying like, um, at some point, I might ride only once a week myself, give them 1 day off and 3 days with the clients, besides the weekend that is always like Friday, Saturday. Usually we don't work so much. Um, so I would say that if I'm looking at the whole show season, before every show, I have 2 weeks. I have the 2 days that I will ride like 1 week before. So I will just ride them not harder, but just like sharper. I won't start playing with them about lead changes and stuff. I would just do the things that they need for the next show, and I will keep everything
Mhm.
super sharp. And especially when
Mhm.
I have clients who have specific programs, like you said, for example, if someone have issue with the hunch turn, so I will just make sure it's in the right spot. And then we have the week before, like the week that we are about to go. I won't ride the horses anymore. I just left whatever I have done 2 weeks before in the same place. Next week will be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, only lessons for the clients. Wednesday, we are going to the show. I ride all of the horses one at a time. And then we prepare them. And on Thursday, we just start showing. So, like, I'm pushing them a little more 2 weeks before the show, but then I give them enough
Mhm.
time to relax and come to the show in a good mind, in a good mindset. Sorry. And if there is something really terrible, so I might ride twice at day, like on a Wednesday when we're arriving to the show, I might ride twice at the
Mhm.
same horse, which thank God I haven't done that for like at least 3 or 4 years, and I hope it's gonna
Oh,
stay that
nice.
way.
That's awesome. You are very organized. You have everything like laid out exactly how it's supposed to be. You're very exact. You know exactly what you're looking for. Like it doesn't like talking to you and your program and how you do things. It doesn't feel like you're stumbling around in the dark. You've got a very exact way of how you're doing things. And that's probably why you're seeing as much success as you are and why you're content with what you're doing. Like you have it seems like you're very fulfilled and you know what you're doing, which is really
Like,
impressive. So that's really cool, especially because I mean, even though you have been training for 10 years, as far as a whole career is concerned, that's a very short period of time for your entire career. So that's really impressive that you've developed that routine this early on in your career. That's really cool. It's commendable.
thank you very much. I appreciate it. Actually, I have something
Yeah.
nice to say about it because some people saying that you can split the world to the waiters and the doers. And the waiters are people who's waiting for something to happen while the doers already made it done. So I would
Yes.
say that,
Yeah.
when people ask me in here, like, how is it working for you? Uh, So I'm trying to be humble and say it's not that, like I was hit by a lightning. It's that every time that I have, I'm thinking about how to make my program better. What can I do better for
Mhm,
my horses and with my horses?
mhm,
And I must say that, you know, I had a lot of shit from this industry for many years. So at the moment, I'm happy that, I took all of those bad experience and hard times, and build from this material something better for myself and for my team and for my clients. Hello.
She really wants to say hi. She's been crying, she's been clawing my leg. She really wants to say hi. Okay, you said hi. Are you good? Sorry. That was a really strong answer. Where does your motivation come from? Why do you want to be the best? Why do you want to work so hard? Why do you do it?
Um, Maybe it's a little bit philosophical. And I like it because I'm kind of very, very deep person, I think. So I would say that I think with the horses, I found kind of a way to change lives for people. Like, getting a young girl who doesn't have any confidence, she's scared from
Mhm,
her own shadow, and bringing her to get into a big arena sitting like that in an horsemanship pattern, keeping her chin up with
mhm,
the eyes wide open and
mhm,
so hungry to win that class. And sometimes they do win. So for me it feels like I'm doing something so much more important than just fun for people. And I guess
mhm.
this is something that keeps me really motivated. And
Yeah.
I would say that for myself, I keep on seeing what is not perfect inside of me. Like, what is not good enough yet. So this is something that, one day it drives me crazy. And then the next one, it's just make me find another way to turn to a better trainer and also a better person, I guess. And I would say that overall, I'm a person who think way too much. So
Mm,
with the time and as much as I'm getting old, I'm learning about making useful thoughts and not just think about the same thing again and again, like why it doesn't work, why it doesn't work, why it doesn't work. So like let's change it to how am I going to make it work differently. I'm guessing that the time shows me it works better this way, so I'm just keep on doing it like that.
yeah. Yeah. It's awesome. What's your best piece of advice for somebody who's listening to this podcast?
Wow. I would say that try to learn in the widest way that you can. Have your own trainer, but make sure that you ask him and yourself what you want to get from each other and how you are going to do it. Because the biggest issue with building confidence to clients is when they don't know something. Like, the different in Hebrew, it sounds better, but I'm always saying that the opposite from being afraid is knowing. Okay. We are afraid from things that we don't
Mhm.
know about. So, like,
Mhm.
going to the show and the client is nervous. So make sure you
Mhm.
tell them how you're going to handle the show, what they should make sure that was done evening before the class, what they want them to have during the day of showing and stuff like that. So I would say to the person who's listening right now, make sure that you get the answer that you need to, first of all, feel safe and confident. Second, make sure that you have fun. If it's your hobby, you must enjoy it, no matter what. Find a way to enjoy it. And if you don't feel any fun, first of all, you should say it to the person who takes responsibility of your horses, which means barn manager or owner or your trainer, if you're a client in training. And I guess the third thing is make sure that the goals you want inside of you are known to your trainer. So he can be very fair with you and tell you, no way you're going to win it this year. Let's try to do it next year. Or maybe he can tell you, no problem. If this is what you want, I'm not promising you that, but we are going to push this way as much as we can together.
I love that. That's fantastic advice. And I hope that everybody listening was really paying attention. And if you weren't, rewind it back like 2 minutes because yeah, I love how overall you keep pointing back to enjoy it, have fun. And if you're not enjoying it, then you should change something and you
Mm.
should communicate that with somebody, whoever you need to,
Abs-
and make necessary changes. Don't just complain about the situation that you're in, have some action and change it if you don't like where you are.
Wow, actually,
Yeah,
what amazing timing. I just had my new tattoo, I think 2 days ago, and it's just saying, what you're not changing, you're choosing.
I love that. I love that. That is so important to me as a personal trainer, right? Who my entire clientele is equestrians who want to get better. And if somebody comes to me, I can tell deep down that they really don't want to be better and they're kind of wanting me to
Make
keep
them.
they want me to make them
Yeah,
be better, and it's like, "No, no, no, that's not how a coach works. I can't do it for you. I can't want it for you. You have to want it. You have to wanna change. You want to have to get off the couch. You want to not have to eat 2 pints of ice cream after dinner. You have to want to go and do your workout," right?
absolutely.
Like, I can't force people to make those changes. They have to want to make the changes. And that's the hardest part I think about being a coach is I can want it for somebody all day long, but if they don't put in the work, then they're not going to get anywhere.
No, unfortunately, no.
Thank you for listening to the Elevate Your Ride podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend, follow us on social media, or leave a positive review. Please note the views, ideas, and education shared on this podcast are intended for general education, and you should always consult with your team before making any big changes.